this is Robin with Heirloom Paper Creations, and I'm here with part 1 of my Button mini album, and I'm going to show you how to make some of the key elements of this really cute, simple album. In fact, it's so simple, there is not chipboard on the front or back covers. It's just one of the pages, so it has a soft cover. And once I show you how to make this, you'll be able to just make your own using your own papers and your own creativity. Or if you like, I do have a tutorial available on my website, and I will also have a limited number of kits available, and I should have those up by tonight. Those the kits will be using this same paper by K & Company, and it will include the buttons and all the cardstock and the elements needed to make a project similar to mine. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. It is constructed using buttons that are in the center here. There's 2 rows of them, and that holds that's what we're using to bind the pages together. Now I want to talk about those buttons just real quick. What I did was I took 2 of the buttons and I glued the flat sides together, making sure that the buttonholes were lined up, and I used this quick grip to glue them together. So that's so that there's a little extra space between the pages for elements and the actual photos, so that so that you don't get this type of look on the book. All right, so let's get started. We're going to start with an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, and we're going to score along using the 11-inch part of this paper. Score at 1 and 6, and then we're going to rotate and score at 1. And then we're going to fold on, I just fold on the flap parts first, and then I fold in the short end, and this is the part that's going to fold over, but I want it to be very, very square, so I'm going to line it up first before I do use my bone folder on it, so that it'll be very square. Then on this part I'm going to put tape. I'm using 1-inch tape. You could use a couple of strips of 1/4 inch if you wanted or needed. And this is very aggressive tape. And then remove the backing. And now you can just fold that over and secure it. And that is your page. This part here with the score lines, that is your binding. And then another thing that I do is, and this is of course totally up to you if you want them, but on the outer edge I mark the center point, and then I use a let me see how wide this is. 3/4 inch hole punch, and I line it up and punch and punch. This is so, because this page actually creates a pocket, I want to be able to easily remove my photo mat that's in there. Next, I take the centering ruler again, and on the flap side I center. I'm centering this way as well as this way as best I can. I'm just eyeballing it and I'm good with that. Some may want to be more precise and measure, but I'm just kind of eyeballing it there. So as far as centering this way. Okay, so I marked 1 inch out from center. Now I'm going to take the button that I'm using for my binding, and I'm going to line up the hole with my dot on the inside, and then mark the outside hole. So now I have 2 sets of dots, and then I'm going to take a needle or a pin. In this case I'm going to start with a pin just because it's easier to hold, and I'm going to poke holes in my flap right on top of those dots that I made. And then what I'm going to do is take another page that I've made and stack it on top, and then poke through my original holes into the second page. This way all my buttons will line up. And I do that with all my pages. Then, starting with a page, I'm going to try to make sure I don't go off camera. I'm going to start on the what would be the back side, and I'm going to put my I'm going to load a needle and thread, and I'm not going to actually even do this for you. It is so simple. You just load your needle with enough thread to go through all your pages and back down again, and you go through the top hole and add your glued together buttons, then stack your next page on top, and go through the holes. That way your pages are, when you get done, your pages will be nice and square together. And then add your next button and your next page, and so on. And when you get to the top, just turn your needle back around and go back down. Now you will notice that on your top and bottom pieces there will be no buttons. It's just thread went through here, buttons in between. When you get to the top page, just turn it around and go back down through, and then through the buttons again, and on the back side tie it off. And so you wind up with the pages that look like this, with the buttons in between, and these buttons, I decorated the large buttons and then just glued them on top where the string was showing, where your thread showed, and I just glued those right on top of that. And then what I did was, in this case, I fussy cut this front cover and back from a sheet of the paper, and then with the scraps I cut these strips. Now what I did was I held my book up like this as neatly as I could, and I measured the length there, and then I added 2 inches to it. This first strip is 5/8, and the middle strip is 1 1/2. And then I punched, made little decorative punches there, or you can leave them square, or you can cut angles, or any type of punching that you like. And basically that is your book. So here's the page, this front page again. Here's the buttons in between. And it also makes each of the pages be able to turn easily on top of each other. And there's that one. And each of the photo mats in the page come right out there. All right, so if you're interested in seeing how I decorate the rest of this book, or what might be included for the kit, come back for part 2 and I will show you that. If you're interested in a tutorial or a kit, go on over to my website and they're available there. The tutorial is an instant download. If you buy the kit, the tutorial will be included in the kit. And I will see you then.